Hi everyone, it's Melissa Phillips, and today's project uses Paperclay. I used the Delight and also Vellum and refills and paper trading dies to create these dimensional clay covered vellum flowers who end up with a really beautiful texture and flocking to them, and then fun color as well, and they curl up and create just a lot of dimension. So you'll start by just cutting a strip of your vellum, 8.5 by 11 paper trading vellum, in 2 strips that will fit through your die cut machine, and then select the leaves and flowers that you choose to work with. I used assorted in different sizes so that I could build from the bottom up. And then choose your colors for your project. I used limeade ice for my leaves, and sweet blush for the centers, and then plum pudding for the purple. And the colors end up being just a little bit softer than in real life, so keep that in mind, but they're so fun to try out and see what they come up with. To begin with, open your package and just take out kind of a gumball size piece of clay. You don't need too much for this, and you get 2 flowers each time you run your die cut and vellum through your die cut machine. And you don't want too much because it squishes out through the edges of the vellum and then right onto your die cut plates. I've already tried that for you, made that mistake for you so you won't have to. It makes a mess, but we are just going to add color right to this little pot of clay here, and I'll go ahead and start with sweet blush. If you have latex gloves, you can wear those. I don't, and I don't mind a little mess. And what you're going to do is just kind of knead the color into your clay. And depending on how much color you add, you will create varying shades. So I think maybe a little darker the better with these light pastel colors like sweet blush. So just knead it until the color is mixed evenly throughout and you get it the shade that you want. Of course, I had to start with pink, my favorite color, and I really like how it turned out. Okay, go with a little bit more. And I can't think of anything that I've ever tried like this before, so this is kind of a fun new technique. Okay. I think that's a good shade. So if you have your rolling pin, you can roll that out so that it's fairly thin, or you can just press it with your hands. Then what you're going to do is you'll use your die cut plate on the bottom, followed by your chosen die cut. Okay, and then you're going to sandwich your clay in between 2 pieces of vellum. So you'll position your die cut directly underneath your clay. Okay, and then you'll have your top plate, and you'll run the sandwich through your die cut machine. And I will show you what you get. I've just run my vellum sandwich through my die cut machine with clay in the center, and so I come out with this 2 pieces of vellum that are essentially stuck together using clay. What I'm going to do is just tear those apart, and you can see that you've got clay stuck to both sides. And it looks just almost like cotton candy. It's fluffy and light. And as time goes on, this will dry, and you'll have your solid piece of vellum right there. Another thing I like to do to create fuller flowers is to just go ahead and snip my petals, because as this clay dries and hardens, it kind of pulls at the vellum and starts curling. And so you can just add a little bit more dimension by snipping inwards and kind of shaping your blossom. But leaving them flat would work as well. I just really like fullness and dimension wherever possible. Okay, so I'm just going to let those dry and I'll go ahead and move on to my other colors. Let's go ahead. I'll show you the plum pudding. Just got my clay here. You don't need as much color of the plum pudding since it's such a dark color. And this is where it seems to start getting a little bit messy. Your fingers end up looking like they're bruised when you're done. But just need that color in there and you'll see your clay transform. Gosh, there's so many fun things I've kind of discovered as I've been doing the trial and error process with clay. If you pop it in your microwave or heat it for just a little bit, it actually puffs up, almost like you're cooking a biscuit. So you get dimension that way as well. I just encourage you to play around with a little bit. Okay, so I've got my plum pudding clay colored, and then I'm going to make my sandwich using a little bit larger die cut so that it'll be a little bit larger than this sweet blush petal. And I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute. Okay, so I just pulled apart my 2 pieces of vellum that had plum pudding clay in the center. And this is the really beautiful shade that came out looking like. I've gone ahead and I've snipped each of these petals towards the center. And you can see how automatically the flower starts curling upwards as the clay dries. So all that's left is for you to layer your large blossoms with your small blossoms. Top it with a button in the center, and then of course your leaves. And my leaves just consist of limeade ice and clay that I've kneaded the color into, and then I've just used ruby rose as my leaves, and they require no snipping, of course. They just curl upwards and create a lot of dimension for you as you assemble those flowers. So give this technique a try. I think it'll be one that you'll want to turn to again and again. I can't wait to try shades of blue with my clay and aqua mist and Hawaiian shores. I think it's going to be so pretty. I can't wait to see what you come up with, and happy crafting!